his sister has come, and Krishnan also has just now given a message, and he will not be able to join. So we can commence our proceedings for the day. Welcome, friends. I think we all had a wonderful Ugadi, and we also had a very good Ugadi gift to one of our close friends, Kesavan. With this, we will be going forward to the forthcoming week, and we are also going to have two important functions. So Kesavan has joined, in fact.
Good morning.
Congratulations, Kesavan.
Thank you, thank you.
I think all of us are waiting to congratulate both Prabhu.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Very kind of you. Thank you.
Every குழந்தை எப்படி நல்லா இருக்கா?
நல்லா இருக்கு. It's quite okay.
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 Back at home, ah? Back at home. குழந்தை வந்துட்டா வீட்டுக்கு?
வந்தா வீட்டுக்கு வந்தாச்சு. Back at home.
So, Kesavan, congratulations.
Thank you, thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you, ma. Thank you, ma.
So, yeah.
Is this son's daughter or daughter's daughter?
Daughter's daughter.
Daughter's daughter. Okay.
He has become a Nana. Nana in Hindi terms.
Okay.
And he has got a wonderful Mahalakshmi has come on Ugadi day, the gift of Ugadi.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay. So welcome, friends. Now we will commence our proceedings.
Okay.
As we commence our proceedings, we will also tell two important functions that are ongoing, and we will also have the benefit of it. Om Shri Gurubhyo Parama Gurubhyo Srimad Ananda Tirtha Bhagavat Padacharyobhyo Namo Namaha Narayana Paripurna Gunarnavaya Visvodaya Stititolaya Niyati Prataya Jnana Prataya Vibhuda Sura Saukya Dukkha Sakkaranaya Vidadaya Namo Namaste Yo Vipralimba Viparita Mati Prabhudan Vadan Nirasya Kritavan Bhuvidatvavatam Sarvesvaro Haririti Pratipatakam Tam Ananda Tirtha Munivarayam Namami Ujjaya Raghavendraya Satya Dharma Rataya Cham Pajatam Kalpavrikshaya Namatam Kamadenave Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahaihi Tejasvina Vatitamastu Ma Vishvidavahaihi Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Welcome, friends, and last 3 days the entire city of Madurai has come alive with the blistering of the Meenakshi festival, the Chitra festival. Today is the 4th day. Last 3 days, it has started on Dvitiya, Chaitra Dvitiya onwards it has commenced. And in fact, because the first time after last 3 years, the deity has come around the city, because Madurai is a city, it is having concentric squares. This entire city is built around the walls of the temple. The outside wall, which is called Masi Street. This is in the month of Masi. The deity comes around the city during those periods. There are specific functions in the month of Masi. But Masi Street was the outer limit of the city in those days. So therefore, the deity comes around the entire city. It is coming to everyone's house, in fact. So all the 10 days till the Meenakshi Kalyanam, which is going to sort of commence, and which is going to be there on the Chitrai festival. On 14th of April, the Meenakshi Kalyanam is supposed to be held this year on the auspicious Chitra day, and it will be wonderful. I think the entire city will celebrate as if there is marriage in their own house. And in fact, after seeing the milling crowd and the way in which people have come out, because after the 3 years of lockdown, it seems, I think, this entire pandemic has come to an end. And the entire festivities and the sea of jasmine flowers and entire, these roses and other things pouring all around. The city, in fact, looked like real, because what you can call the Swarga, something like that. And it is wonderful. I think now after that, this is the only festival, in this part of the state where both the streams come together, like Shaiva and Vaishnava come together. Because during this period only, the temple Vishnu, the Alagar, who is also coming to attend the marriage, because in fact he comes to prevent the marriage, because he doesn't want, his sister was defeated by the Lord Shiva. He wants to come to her help, but before he comes, the already the marriage has been fixed. So he comes here, and he finally gives his sister to Shiva. That is the story that goes. So therefore, when this entire thing takes place, both the Shaivism and Vaishnavism come together to celebrate the marriage. It is a unique occasion. So it used to be held in those days in the outskirts of the city, and around the city it used to be happening. After the temple has been renovated during Thirumalai Nayaka's time, these things have been brought together. Because after the Meenakshi Thirukalyanam, the next day, the Alagar, from Alagar Kovil, he comes to the city. He comes with to help his sister. Actually, once he knows, that the marriage has already been fixed and all, he comes and gives his sister in marriage. He goes back. So once he comes, the idea here is the entire area in and around Madurai as well as the southern part of the state will have good rains when he comes. And once he comes, and every time he comes in a particular sort of a garment. See, they say Pachai Pattu. When he comes in a Pachai Pattu, the entire prosperity will be there all through the southern parts of the state. So that's how it celebrates. It is one of the great things. Already the Alagar has started from the Alagar Kovil. He is just on the way. He will be coming through, because he will be received in very many places called Mandapapadis. By the time he comes, he will come just after the Meenakshi Thirukalyanam is fixed. So it is arranged like that, and he will be coming. After Meenakshi Thirukalyanam, it will be festivity of the Alagar Kovil. So Shaivism and Vaishnavism come together, and in all the festivities you will see together everything and all. In fact, everyone carries a big treasure chest in the golden color, as if it has been sent by the Vishnu, Lord Mahavishnu, to Shiva as a gift, because since he is getting married to his sister, he sends it, and the entire city is come alive. It was lovely to see after 3 years of stagnation. It's wonderful. I think this has given a good augur, and presumably, it is going to be very good for the entire world. And next, before we go meet next week, we will also be having the Ramanavami, which is in fact going to be on the 10th, because Navaratri, Vasanta Navaratri is going on, Ramanavami is there. The Ramanavami, because there is one particular sloka, normally I think, because it is the sloka that's being recited, but very often people give notice or not notice. Charitam Raghunashasya Satakoti Pravistaram Ekaikam Aksharam Pumsam Mahapataka Nasam. So this is one of the sort of, the mantras that is being recited. Charitam Raghunathasya Satakoti Pravishtaram Ekaikam Aksharam Pumsam Mahapataka Nasanam. This is something to do with the Mula Ramayana. Shatakoti Pravishtaram. Shatakoti letters are there. Shatakoti slokas are there. That Ramayana is not available to us. Mula Ramayana it is called. That Mula Ramayana is the Ramayana in which it is being extolled in a great, it is written by, it was given by Hayagriva to Brahma. And after Brahma hears that, he tells Narada, see, someone has to write this story. He sends Narada to Valmiki. He comes to Valmiki Ashram, and there only, if you see the Valmiki Ramayanam, the very first kanda, the very first sarga is Samkshepa Ramayana. There, Valmiki asks, is there any person who is having all the grand qualities? Still, he is a great, courageous, valiant, and who is upholding the Dharma all through the world. So then Narada gives his reply. In that, he gives the entire story of Rama in a capsule. The Samkshepa Ramayanam is the capsule, is the very first chapter of Balakanda in Valmiki Ramayana. From there only Valmiki gets the cue and writes the entire Ramayana. So that is how this Mula Ramayanam is the original source for all the Ramayanams and all. In fact, Madhvacharya always considered Mula Ramayana to be one of the major scriptures one has to take. And maybe in those days and in his time it was available. Now the text of Mula Ramayana is not available anywhere at all. But since the sloka has been mentioned, Charitam Raghunasatya Satakoti Pravistiram Ekaikam Aksharam Pumsam Mahapatakanashanam, it shows there was a Mula Ramayana and the text is not available and it has been acknowledged by all the acharyas. This is one of the grand one, and from there only the Ramayana story has been told by Narada to Valmiki, and Valmiki elaborated because he got the Jnana Drishti and he gave the entire, because Valmiki wrote the entire story based on his Jnana Drishti, he could see, because as to what has happened and what is happening, because he was living in the Rama's time. The Lavakucha, when they were there, he was living in those days. It is a sort of a rare coincidence how such a great scripture could be written and all, because this is just for the purpose of information. And again, because it is going to culminate, the Vasanta Navaratri is going to culminate with the birth of Rama on that Ramanavami day. See, there is one particular sloka, because which says, because how Rama was born, in fact, it tells, he had all the grahas and what auspicious time he has born and all. That's one great sloka, and this sloka, I personally, it has got some sort of, because quandary always. I used to recite this sloka right from 59. This sloka was taught to me by my grandfather, who was a great Sanskrit scholar. He was a Shiromani in Tattva, Mimamsika and Vyakarna. He has studied in the beginning of the 20th century, 1900, because he has done for 12 years Adhyayana and all. So as a young boy, 7 to 8 years, maybe like Nachiketa, when I didn't know. So when I was asking him, why don't you give me some slokas so that I can, because all that we were knowing was by reciting the slokas, we will get good education, good in this and all. So he wrote me one sloka and he gave me a lot of slokas. I have been reciting it. So I have been reciting one particular sloka, but I was not able to locate, where this sloka is there. And because I have gone through Valmiki Ramayanam, I have recited, in fact, Balakandam, Sundarakandam and all those things, Ananda Ramayanam. And we have also got Narayana Panditacharya has written a Sangraha Ramayanam. All those things, nothing. Finally, it was in Champu Ramayanam. Champu Ramayanam is a great, I think some of us might be knowing, it is a great Ramayana written by Kalidasa and Bhoja Maharaja together. They have written, it was a lyrically wonderful scripture that was written, and in that they couldn't complete the last Uttarakanda that was written by one Lakshman Suri. The Champu Ramayana is famous for its lyrical beauty and the way it is telling the story so that people could understand. Even a man with a very minimum sort of exposure to the Ramayana can understand, and you can also enjoy the literary merit of it. So I didn't realize he has taken the story. It is a 29 sloka in the Balakanda of Champu Ramayana, the first sarga. So I was reciting without knowing, and in fact, only few years back only I could just locate it to its Champu Ramayana. In a way, it was a great startling revelation to me, without knowing from which scripture it has been written. He gave it, because just I was inquisitive and enthusiastic and curious. He gave it. And after that, when I came, it was really wonderful. He has picked up from the great scripture and he has given it and all. And normally, it is Champu Ramayanam is not so popular, in the public and all. So the sloka is just I will recite for the purpose of Uchaste, Grahapanchake, Suragurav, Santo, Sento, Naumyam, Navamyam, Tito, Lagne, Karkatake, Punarvasiyute, Mesham Gade, Pushani. It says like that entire the entire horoscope of the Rama is being described in this. Because even in the Valmiki Ramayana, it doesn't give so many details. It gives, because the day he has been born and the Tithi and all those things. Because then subsequently Bharata was born, Lakshmana, and within few hours, few days, it is happening in the script. So with this, that's also going to be coming about. So we are in the most auspicious time of the year. So with this, we will continue with our Kathopanishad. See, as we have gone about this Nachiketa, because the just about 7-year-old boy, you have to give me a minute. I have just kept my specs away. I will just bring it in. See, the 7-year-old boy, and we saw him, how he has made up his mind. Despite that, his father could have inadvertently told him, because Dasyami Mrityu Dasyami, when he said, because he has taken it, because the embers, the fire was still on, he wanted to take it and he wanted to be sort of maintaining the integrity of the words of his father, and he also didn't have any qualms in going out because, and he was in the having the thirst, Trishna Vichetavat, unquenchable thirst to get the knowledge from whatever source it is there, even if he has to leave the body. The body is not important to him. In that context only, just for the purpose of recap, because that we will see that two important slokas, though we have seen it, from there we will proceed. Anupashya yatha purve pratipashya tata apare, the 1.1.6 in page number 13. This is on the top of it, it is there 1.1.6. Anupashya yatha purve pratipashya tata apare sasyamiva martyaha pachyate sasyamiva jayate punaha. This is where clearly we discussed in detail, Anupashya yatha, because people have gone before that and they have all lived, because with the dharmic principles, with the charities they have lived. And they have also gone, and they have gone, based on whatever the deeds they have done. They have also faced, if they have to be put into hell or heaven or whatever they have done, and they have also come back. Finally, what happens once you go there? This is where one of the wonderful similes, anecdotes that has been given that we discussed last week. In fact, we also thought Tirumala's, Tirumandiram also we saw that. Sasyameva martyahe pachyate. It is a very great simile, because it is one of the great similes, in the entire Upanishad as it is. Sasyameva martyaha pachyate, sasyameva jayate punaha. Like a corn. The corn, once you get it, it's being used. It's being cooked, it's being rallied around. It's being, even oil is being extracted, everything, any corn for that matter. And finally, the few seeds come out of that, the same seeds from there again it comes. It just shows, because that the soul, because it's like other religions and all, the soul is permanent, it takes the form, like, because that's why Chinmayananda used to say, whenever you wear a shirt, you don't feel like wearing a shirt, maybe second day. Maybe I think at best, you can wear it for the second day, and third day you will go for something else. Like the soul goes for a new shirt, because it got a new form. Likewise, it goes off. That is exactly, it has been said, sasyamiva martyahe pachyate sasyamiva jayate punaha. Because there is the nature of the world. For anything that comes in this world will have to go, and again it will come in a different form. The form changes. That's why we said, whatever happens, our infancy, our middle age, and our old age, and the super senior age, everything is a change of form. And likewise, even when we leave the body, is also a change of form. That's what. In fact, one of the great explanation given by some of the great acharyas like Madhvacharya and all, it is like, because you are there, but suddenly you are not visible. You become invisible. Adrishya, like Ahalya, because of the Shapa, when we was, like it's being said, she became a stone. She didn't become a stone. She was sitting on the stone, she became invisible. When the Ramas, when their feet touched that particular stone, who has become invisible has become visible. It is like that, it goes off like that. It is the same thing, it is a change of form only. In fact, because we also recited one particular sloka of Bhagavad Gita, which exactly has taken, more or less from this particular example only. Jatashi dhruvo mrityuhu. See, whatever comes in this for Jatasya, whatever comes, we'll have to go. Dhruvo mrityuhu. Mrityu in the sense we'll have to go. Which comes, we'll have to go. Dhruvam janmam mrityusya. Because even if it is something has to go, and it will have to come again. So it is the order of the entire world. Tasmat hapariharyate natvam sochitum arasi. So in view of this, you will not be worried about. See, we have come, we are going to be here, but you will be doing whatever you have to do in this world. Whatever you have been ordained to do, whatever you have to gain the experience, whatever you have to develop, whatever you have to refine, whatever you have to, because this is an opportunity. Having come into this world, as we have seen in Kathopanishad, ihacheti vedit satyam asti, ihana avedit mahati vinashti. Because once you come here, satyam asti, in the sense you realize what is the reality. Because the reality, body is not a reality. But your deeds are a reality. Your knowledge is a reality. All of them are going to be carried. That's what it is going to be. This is the verse 227 of Bhagavad Gita, which is exactly similar to the Anupashya yatha purve Pratipashyeta aparin. This is exactly, this is, and this particular thing has got a lot of explanation in Bhagavad Gita also, because once you get into the details of the Gita, and you will go into it, will go to the great extent also. So this is where only in this context only it has been sent, the same Bhagavad Gita words have been sent in a very, very simple language by the Kabir Das. Kabira jab hum paida hue, hum roye jag hase. यो करनी है ये करके चलो हम हंसे लोग रोए, because this is exactly because so that you don't worry about all those things, you keep doing your duty. Krishna vichetavat, as you have to do it. Kurvate karmani yat pritaye sajjanaha, in Dwadasa Shostram, Sri Madhvacharya says, you cannot be desist from not doing the things, you cannot be procrastinating. If I do, this will happen. If I don't do, something else will happen. You are not supposed to be thinking about it. The same thing like Arjuna was vacillating as to whether you should go ahead or not go ahead, and he has been brought out of his vacillation, slumber, and he has been shaken by the very words of the Krishna in the second chapter, and he has been brought into the action. The same thing had happened. So this is what exactly the Bhagavad Gita, when it is being described, it is not a retirement plan. It is a plan of action. It is a plan to live vibrantly through this world. It doesn't have to be, because every day how you are going to live, how you are going to develop, it is like that. So it is not something, you have to study only when you are 40 or 50, 60 and all, because Bhagavad Gita should be studied, even should be learned, even when we were youngsters. That would have helped us, to face the world and understand the world more precisely, and in fact more intimately, and we would have molded ourselves into a better being than what we are now. Unfortunately, because these are all, you will have to read Gita only when you are 40 or 50 and all. You will not be listening to the words of Gita unless your wife's name is Gita. Otherwise, because the Gita is to learn and understand, and because that has been, you have got so many other priorities in the life that happens. This is what has been brought about in this. And likewise, the similar 2-3 slokas are also there in Bhagavad Gita to say, all these things. And now when we went to the next mantra, and in 1.1.7, because if you can see the same page, in page number 13, Vaishvanaraha, this is what last week we saw, Vaishvanaraha pravishyati atithir Brahmano Grihan. Once the Atithi comes, Atithi is the one unannounced guest. He is not a Tithi. He doesn't come with a prior appointment. He comes unannounced. When an unannounced person comes, in our context in Sanatana Dharma, he comes with a great message. Either he comes to test you, or either he wants to elevate you to a level, or he wants to give you a super message which you were clamoring for all through for a problem of yours. That is why, because any Atithi, you should always consider Atithi Devo Bhava. Why? Acharya Devo, Matur Devo Bhava, Pitur Devo Bhava, Acharya Devo Bhava, Atithi Devo Bhava. Why it has been built into the Sanatana Dharma is Atithi is someone who is coming just, without your asking, for your own good. He is not some burden on you. Because now, of course, the Atithi concept is different. If you go unannounced, no one will entertain you, nor you can get into the building. Even the security will not allow unless they give the permission and all. It was there in those days, because the way people used to go and all, because they were expecting. As I was narrating the story in our village, how we used to wait up to 12 o'clock or so, before we go for our food and all. So it was the order of the day. Now it has changed. But even now, you will find, it is happening in the world. So suddenly, you find, when the organization is in a problem, even in a family is in a problem, or when you meet someone, because someone comes with a message, you get some clue, you get some new viewpoint, because you are not able to, because we are like hackneyed. Because since you are having a habitual thing, we go on thinking the same thing again and again. Why it is happening? This is exactly, they say, in our human brain, it is conscious mind and unconscious mind, both are there. But the subconscious mind, it takes everything and makes into habit. You are not able to apply it. But most you take a conscious account of what is happening, the habit will be converted into the actionable, helpful part of you that will go to the conscious mind. How many times you are conscious when you are brushing the teeth? You just mechanically pick up your brush and put the sort of the paste on that, and in fact we had on experience. I think Kesavan will remember. One day myself and one of our friends Ram Mohan, both of them went to Kesavan's house early morning. It was just about 5:45. Normally we never used to get up. On that particular day we got up and he also came. We went there just to go and just wake up. Kesavan also have that. So when we opened the door, Kesavan as usual he was coming with a vessel for taking the milk, because at that time milkman only comes. We both were going there. It is by habit, it happens. It's not, he doesn't expect both of us to come by 5:45. So it is like a habit, because it gets into it. It's not that you will be expecting someone, in the odd hours and all. It happens, because habit, how it controls. That's what, because very often we think, I can't change it. I can't take the coffee, without at least this much sugar is there, or I will have to take the coffee only this and all. Because all those things forms, because you think, that is a must for you. And it is ingrained in you. And then once you don't want to change is always prevents you from doing it. Why this Upanishad always, we are trying to emphasize is Upanishad wants you to change. Nothing will be, world will not be changed for you. World will be what it is. It will be as good, as bad, as indifferent as it is. If you go on complaining, it will allow you to complain more. It will not change. But it is for you to change. Once you accept, then you want to, then you will find a new dimension which is in you, which you are not able to get through. That is exactly Nachiketa is trying to do at the young age. Even when his father said, he put steadfast. Well, I will go by the words, whatever you said, irrespective of the fact, whether you repent or not. Because I will have to maintain the integrity of your words for your own benefit. I don't want to give it up and all. That is the integrity. See, what is that? Pranajaye par vachan na jaye, when Ramachandran, when he said, that is the way we will have to live even to a child. In fact, because this is what exactly we are forgetting. Supposing, you go to someone's house, maybe, your own daughter or son's house, and your grandchild says, look, I think, why don't you come? See, normally they don't want you to go, because you are the one little liberal with them, not the parents. Parents give all sorts of restrictions. And even when you are trying to be liberal, they look at you as if you are trying to spoil the child. With all these things happening and all, but the child doesn't want you to go out. And then finally you say, look, today we are going, and day after tomorrow, we will come around afternoon and all. Don't take it lightly, because the child expects that. The child at that stage, like Nachiketa, it expects exactly what you have said, you are going to fulfill that. But if you think it's only a child, I have told you, there's the biggest sort of the lack of integrity what we are displaying. The biggest, the sort of, we are not honest to ourselves. Not only that, child psyche, will get affected, because normally it will not have any faith in what you are telling, what you are believing and all. This is something which I have been in particular, because it has been taught to by one of my Bengali friends. Because how it happened, because he used to do, because he used to, despite all his work, if he has told, some child of his friends or something like that, he will make it a point, even at night, 9 o'clock, he will go and hand over a chocolate or something like that, then only he will go home. See that, and the child was expecting that. It's not that it was not expecting. We take it, because look, what is there. And very often when we say, we don't mean it all. Someone wants you to come for a marriage, we can't tell them I can't come for the marriage. Oh, definitely I will come and all. We will say, because if possible I will come. That also we don't say sometimes, because he will not accept. So, of course, in those social functions it is okay. But when you are telling a child, growing child, its psyche affects. Any child, whatever it wants, either you say, you are going to give it, or you are going to give some alternate, but don't try to take it, because this is the development. Nachiketa, on the other hand, he being a child, he is trying to go beyond, what is being expected of him. He is trying to put, his full effort onto that. So this is something, I think, Prabhu, there is a raise of hand. Anyway, I think, you will ask something. So that is exactly what we are telling here. He has mentioned, says Vaishvanarha pravishati atiti brahmano grahan. Once he has come, he was not there at that point of time. It's not that he has gone out, as a lot of Vyakyanas are telling. He was there, but of course, he was trying to find whether the student is really thirsty for the knowledge, because Yama is the one giver of the knowledge. He is the Dharma Shastra. He is the authority on Dharma. When he was trying to see, Prabhuda, I think you've given a hand raising. Anything? Oh, so when he was trying to find Griha, he wanted to do that. But actually, it has got a two meaning. Vaishvanarha pravishyatiti brahmano Grihan. When he has come, he was not available, he was trying to find. At the same time, his wife was there. The Upanishad doesn't say who is his wife. His wife is Shyamala. The name normally, because we leave it, I think the wife of the Yama is known Shyamala. She is also great Dharmapatni. She is a great lady. The Shyamala, she says, once he has come, then she says, Tasir Atiti Shantim Kurvanti Hara Vaivasvo Udotakam. See, the son of Vaivasta, that is Vivashvan is the sun god. Yama is supposed to be the son of sun god, that is Vivashvan, because he is Vaivashvata Manvantara. We have got a Vaivashvata Manvantara. Presently, we are going through the Manvantara. The Manvantara is 30 crores and odd days. We will exactly say how many days it is there, because it will also have a relevant in this. When we say Adya Brahmne, Dvitiya Pararte, Svetavaraha Kalpe, and when we say Vaivasta Manvantare, Kali Yuge, Pratame Pade, Ashtavimsatitame, when we say all these are absolutely calculated to the hilt. Nothing, because it's left to any lurch or anything. Everything is to the minute. It is being calculated. This Manvantara is a place, it's like, the Vaivasvata Manvantara is named after him. And since he is the son of Vivashvan, he is called Vaivasvata, it denotes the Yama also. He has to be done. Shyamala says Shantim Kurvanti, because he is the Atiti. He is the Vaishvanara Agni. We saw how the Agni, he comes as Agni. When he comes, you will have to quench him with the thirst. Normally in the Atiti Devo Bhava, in the sense, he has to be given Argyam, Padhyam, and then you will have to give Achamaniyam, in the sense, because you have to give, and Madhubargam, they say Madhubargam, in the sense, you don't have to give anything, something, to quench his immediate thirst. Like, if you go anywhere, they give you a glass of water or something like that, or tea or whatever it is. They give you, and then you make him comfortable, so that, because his entire fire in his belly and his mind because his mind fire is still on. But once it is quenched, he is prepared, and then he will be able to give the messages which you possibly would not have expected from anywhere. He will give you a message which possibly you can't get from any source. Atiti is that type of a people those days. They come with a very, very wonderful messages. They have solved a lot of problems. So that is the type of Atiti. That is what Shyamala is worried. See, he may be testing, Yama may be testing, or he might have, gone around the errand just to test the boy. But she says, Vaishvanaraha pravishyat atiti brahmo grihan tasyatim santim kurvanti hara vaivashana udotakam. Because if it is not that they are going to get, because that is what they have to do, ought to do. They are not able to do that. So she is feeling, little guilty having come, and he is very determined. He doesn't want to take anything. Why he doesn't want to take anything? Because as an Nachiketa, he is having the integrity of thought and action, intention, everything together. He says, I have come here to get the knowledge. I will not get that doesn't belong to me. Even if they give anything and all, I am not interested. It doesn't belong to me. I want to get, the knowledge for which I have come. I am waiting for him. Let him give that. I have come for this. These are all the things I don't need it. this is not meant for me at this moment. He kept at that. It's not that out of arrogance or something like that he didn't take it and all. But they wonder, Atiti Deva Bhava having come is a Brahmana. Brahmana is not, by, as my last week itself I said, not by having the thread, you are not a Brahmana. The one who has realized, once who can give all the three states, the physical and subtle and causal, in all the three states, when you can't expect, when you are able to give everything, then, then you are looking for the highest knowledge. You are the Brahman. Brahmana in, because in the, when the Sanskrit word, Brahmana, Brahman, Brahmana, when it is in Brahati iti Manaha, the one who has gone beyond, all the worldly things and all, Brahati, because Brahu is because the verb for them. Well, because by which, the root is the Bruha. Bruhaman, Brahman. And in fact, Brahman should be said that as it has been written, Brahman. Ha should come. But by practice, we all say Brahman, Brahman, Brahman and all. The Brahman, they say it should not be used. That's why even the Veda, when it is being recited, the Brahman has to be Brahman. So once it is there, the Brahman is the one who knows, one who knows the way to the Brahman, one who was given up. He is the Brahman not by birth. So this is exactly, in fact, Chinmayananda makes very clear about it, because he at one point of time used to think the Brahmins, they exploit everything in all walks of life, the others are not able to get the knowledge. That's why he said, it's not advertisement for Brahman, he has mentioned somewhere and all. It is one who really knows how to get into, and that is exactly the Vedas, Upanishad, everywhere it is written. In fact, Madhvacharya also said, what is the highest thing? Nana janasya shushru karma. You don't have to be a great, the Brahmin in the scriptures and all. You look after, you just go and help someone who is in need. That is the greatest action, duty you have to do. So likewise, with all these things, this is Vaishvanara, that fire is there. What is going to be, with that only, you will be able to get. This is exactly, they are worried, because it's Atiti, is Vaishvanara fire, because if he is not able to get satisfied, whatever merits you have earned, whatever charities you have done, whatever punya karma you have done, everything will go off. Atiti Devo Bhava has not been done, with some sort of a glibly, it has not been said. It is said, with a purpose. If you don't do, what happens? So you should know, if you fail to do, what will happen to the family, the lineage, everything and all. That is why Atiti Devo Bhava is so important. And that is how, because the entire, the Sanatana Dharma, the never one has been sort of, the sent out, or never once have been left unentertained whenever they have come to the place, when they have come uninvited, when they have come on their own volition. In fact, there is one particular Rishi went to Janaka. He wanted to see that, because he went as a guest only. Whenever Rishi comes, immediately, they used to give him all the great, because Agya, Padya and all. Janaka is a Raja Rishi. He is one of the highly qualified. He is as good as a Rishi. In fact, he was a guru to a lot of Rishis. In fact, himself and Yajnavalkya and Gargi, they have all discussed in detail. Ashtavakra has gone and discussed with him a lot. We have also learned the, the story of how Ashtavakra was formed and how Ashtavakra was dealing with the entire thing and all. So all those things he has done. When a Rishi went there, what he could do was, because he was not able to get in, because he went there to discuss with Janaka and get some knowledge. The Janaka knew by intuition. So instead, he was not allowed, but he was given all the facilitation. He was given all the temptations, whatever he would like to do. He is a Rishi. Of course, Rishi himself knows, what is that. Because when he has gone, it is the Sukha Maharishi. When he was made to wait and with all the temptation, so that if he is still having a grain of temptation, he is not eligible for the knowledge. This is exactly when Nachiketa also has not taken any of the hospitality that was to have been given by his Yama's wife Shamala. When he has not taken, He could have taken. It's not that after all, Atithi, they are entertaining, he should take it. But he may not be able to get the knowledge, what he will be, because Yama is just trying to find out whether he is capable of getting that knowledge. Because the knowledge is so sacred. Knowledge has been given so important. It is not something like that, because you go to this university, if you don't get it, you go to some other university. You will not get in any university. This is the highest knowledge. The Nachiketa fire, we will see, what type of a knowledge it is. He has come for that knowledge. He was longing for that knowledge. Nachiketa had that intention. He used this opportunity so that he was having a thirst to get the knowledge. He came back, and once he has come, when it has happened, then Yama comes to him, and Yama's wife tells him, look, consequences of, if you are not looking after what are all the things that is going to happen. This is 1.1.8 in your page 14. Asha pratiche sangatai sunrutam. Sangatam sunrutam. Asha pratiche sangatam sunrutam. Cheshta purti putra pasuncha sarvan. Asha pratiche sangatam sunrutam. This is the first word. Asha. See, you have got a lot of expectations. You are working in the life, when you are working on a day-to-day basis, you got some hopes, aspirations. You have to get this, you get to certain things accomplished. Maybe you want to start, something like that. You want to help people, whatever it may be, or you want to do something, make a big organization, or you want to carry, because all the people, who are not, capable enough to look after themselves, disabled, and you want to do something. Or you want to start a school, college, or anything, whatever. You have got a lot of aspiration. One for you also, you want to have a lot of wealth accumulate, and then, after all, then you will think of how you are going to share it with others. Those ashas, whatever you are having, because how you are having ashas, you got it. I think because when you are having an asha for beyond, what you deserve, then it becomes the greed. For instance, every government servant is being paid heftily, or every lawmaker is being looked after. Despite that, he wants something under the table or over the table and other things. That is beyond what he should be, he deserves and all. Asha, because these type of things. Pratiksha is something, extra expecting and all. But genuine ashas, because a householder, he will have a normal expectation, so that he will be able to look after anyone comes to his house. He will be able to perform his charities. Asha pradikche sangatam sunrutam. Sangatam in the sense, because when he is able to get the sangatam of the great people, sangam, nisangeta, because what we have seen in Bhajagovindam, sangam is of a great people, learned people. Their sangam is there, you are able to develop, you are going into the another dimension. When you are not able to, because if you are not looking after the guest, you will not be able to have the right hopes, the right aspirations, and you will all be not able to get the right kind of people who can come and give you those great knowledge and great benefits, their wisdom. You will not be able to get sangam, that will not be there. Sundratam, because you may not be able to speak, because see, when you tell Satyam, or when you tell something, for the good of others, it should be true, as well as you should not be hurting the other person. You may be telling someone, because if you do that, you will have cancer. If you eat this, it will have, why should you do that? It's better not to take it, and you will have to put it in that way, other person doesn't hurt. And sometimes you may want to avoid a person, then you will try to, because give him all sort of flattery. You are as bright as sun, you are as courageous as Mars, and something like that. All sort of, you will give him all flourishing, flowery things, so that he gets enamored of that. That should not. Sundratam is you should be able to tell the truth, acceptable, and it doesn't hurt him. That's a great art. See, one of the reasons it used to happen, we used to have a lot of meetings, in our corporate days and all. We know the fellows who come, because when you have got a performance review and all, because maybe, once in a month or once in a quarter it comes. everyone will come with the prepared defense. The man who comes with a prepared defense, he will try to falter, because when he has not actually done the job. So we used to politely hear everyone and all. I personally used to tell them, because you have given and you very beautifully presented, but you seem to be economical with the facts. You can't tell him you are telling a lie. You are bluffing. A bundle marte, we can't tell that. But we'll tell him you seem to be economical with the facts. So the fellow will get the message, because after all, you are in a forum and he should not be, in a poor light. So many, everyone else is doing the same thing. But, the fellow is not able to give as much, and he was not, creative enough to give the defense and all, because this always happens when you do a performance review or anything like that. When you get into the defense, but once you are honest, once you tell, yes, this is what it is, and there's nothing going to happen at all. In fact, there was one famous interview. I have just, I think, maybe narrated sometime earlier. There was a UPSC interview for the IAS, IFS streams and all. So everyone used to be prepared. They asked, because you are getting all sorts of cranky questions. They think, they ask like that, and you will have to give like this and all those things and all. I think, that is why, we are also getting cranky champs in our administrative service. So, but it's not so, because there is literally, because great, the very well experienced people, they ask. The one particular gentleman, he couldn't answer even a single question. He only smiled. He didn't have any answer, nor, because he thought, because it's not worth answering, nor perhaps there is no answer or something. Not a single question answered. And when he came out, his colleagues asked him, what is that, you have come for this, have you not prepared, because you should have gone to this academy, that academy, you should have prepared, you should have seen this and all those things. He said, because look, they asked, because I thought, because I don't think I can answer that, and I didn't answer. Finally, that fellow he topped. He topped in the IFS stream, Indian Foreign Service. The person's name is Jagat Mehta. He was the Foreign Secretary during Morarji Desai's Prime Ministership. In fact, he was selected because for all the difficult questions they have asked, as a diplomat, you are not supposed to be answering. And just by your body language, you should have managed. That's all. But if you go think, because everyone should answer every question and all those things, because then if you are honest enough, if you are sincere enough, if you allowed yourself to be who you are in the right dimension, you would have done the right thing. Otherwise, if you are trying to do make believe, trying to emulate someone else, you would have sort of messed up the whole thing. So this is one example normally narrated, because how, when you are going to be honest yourself, integrally, you should have the integrity. This is exactly Nachiketa says. Nachiketa showed by demonstrating. You have to be nothing. If you don't, I think I know one person, he went for some interview. They were giving him airfare and all. He said, I don't need airfare and all. I have come, I'm just close to, I came for some other work, 5 kilometers. I came by my friend's car only. I don't need anything. He give back and all. See how many people will have that honesty to do that. Honesty it's a simple thing. But at that point of time, you try to, even if you are so intended, you try to see how others are trying to do and trying to form your own action. That is exactly what should not be done, because they say, because you are capable. You are not an ordinary person. You are an elevated soul. You are the highest consciousness. So you are being commanded and controlled by the greatest power. You are not an ordinary person to be weaned away by these teeny-weeny things. You are risen up above all those things. This is exactly the Kathopanishad. Kathopanishad, the way it is considered to bring in all these innate qualities. Even though we have innate qualities, we find very often we are not able to demonstrate it. We are not able to follow it because of our own social things. We presume it might be like that. You don't have to presume. If you are not having presumptions, you are not you are liberated. If you don't have any presumption, liberation is nothing but when you are having integrity yourself, the managerial integrity, the personal integrity, when you display everything and all. That is all. That is the highest. You don't have to do anything at all. That's what exactly the Upanishad takes you to that. This is exactly it has been brought about. And when it has, because asa pratikshe sangatam sundrutam, cheshta purti. Cheshta purti in the sense, cheshta is the ishta. Cha ishta purti. That is what the word should be read. Cha ishta. Ishta is whatever we are trying to do. We will be trying to do, we all have some ichas. See, what is that icha purti? Because what is that, we will be doing it in our life. See, our Sanatana Dharma, they have given lot of, the duties to do for our Ishta. So when you want to follow, our own set of dictates and live a dharmic life, first, we have been given 6 things to be done for Ishta. Ishta is for our own benefit, our family's benefit, and the benefit of our lineage. Of course, it is not possible. It is there in the scriptures. So at least we should know what the scriptures say, whether we are able to do it or not. First, we learn to do Agnihotram. Agnihotram is once you get into the Upanayanam, after that Upanayanam, you are supposed to, with the help of Guru, because we will be there, and by the side of your father, you are supposed to bring up the Agni, and that Agni should glow continuously. Every day you are supposed to do the Agnihotram. The Agnihotram, if some person takes sannyas, he doesn't have to do, because he is not supposed to do, and he should not supposed to be getting into with the Agni touch, because they are giving tyaga of the physical and the subtle and causal all the world. So they will not cook, because they will have to go to Unchavriti. If something is available, they will take it, or because if they are in a mat, something is being prasad, they will be given that, but they will not cook themselves. So that is that for them it is not there. But otherwise, for grahasthas who are the householder, this Agnihotram has to continue for the time he is continuing there because in this world. In fact, finally, because the fire has to be lit with this Agnihotram. See, that was in those days, just for the purpose. I think we cannot be going into the impossible things in the present circumstances. But what the scriptures says, first is Agnihotram, then is Tapam, Tapaha. Tapaha in the sense, one of the things they are telling is, this is this Ekadasi, this Punya Ekadasi, Papa Vimochana Ekadasi. So many, all Ekadasis have been given a name, mainly because it induces to follow the Ekadasi. Ekadasi is not only meant for the purpose of your offering, to cleanse your system. So your liver will be freed, your intestine will be freed, you will be tuned up. Like any instrument, like a veena, you have to tune up. You have to give the adequate tension, not over tension. But at the same time, you should not leave it loose also. That is to do that. But when you do that, when you are in that frame of mind, the awareness of highest thing will be there. Highest thing, because God we may think, but the highest thoughts in which you will not have any selfish interest. So you are not a self-centered person. You are a person who is giving yourself to the entire world. The beautiful world in Tamil, because it is there, it is in the Sangam literature. Tanakkana vada pirar kuriyalar. In the sense, it doesn't have to be, because you don't have to demonstrate it. But the way you are living, you are going to live for others only. In the sense, you are not going to be looking for a king. Even in those days, he was also considered to be Tanakkanavana Pirikuriyali. He didn't bother about himself and his family. He was bothering about his subjects. He's bothering about what is happening in the world, protection. Everything is always 24/7. He was thinking like that. Tanakkanavana Pirikuriyali. So that is where because the great examples given as like Karna, because though he was given the kingship and all, finally he lived for a person who gave it to him. Because he didn't live for himself. He gave up his life also. Like 3 people who are giving Wali, because Wali is considered to be another person. Though I think there are a lot of discussions on that. The different opinions are there. That is a very research project which has come about. Because Tanakkanavada Siriyana Sindhiyadam. In the sense they can't think anything small. The incapability of thinking small itself will make you the Tanakkanavada Pirarkuriyala. The beautiful world in Sangam literature it is there. It is like that. So then you are doing that, because tapaha, in the sense, because you are following all these things so that you have the highest thoughts. You are following the vrata. So some of, because after some period of time, you may be having a brahmacharya, or you may be following, certain, because you are going to the Ayyappa temple, because you are going to Sabarimala, you are following that particular this one. And you are going to Mantralayam, you are doing seva 15 days, 30 days, and all, you are following and all those things. They are all supposed to be tapa, not only to keep yourself clean, mind clean, and your body clean, tuned up, so that you always get your antenna right and you are able to get the vibration from the cosmos. You are capable of getting it. The cosmic world gives you the vibration to everyone once you become one with the cosmos. But are we able to get it? Because when you get the cosmic power and you get someone who is almost adored at me, because you become a leader, you become someone from whom people will try to get the knowledge and look for the knowledge. That is one thing, and then it comes Satyam. Satyam, whether we know what is Satyam and all. Satyam, as we have said, Sundrutam and what we have said, you will have to tell the Satyam without affecting the other person, without disturbing the other person. That is an art. That is an art you will be able to develop by yourself, with your own dimension, based on your own experiences, your own sort of getting into a reinvention of yourself. Satyam, and then in those days, it was always this Vedancha Anupalanam, because you will have to go through the Vedic rituals if you are in. Of course, in those days, before Treta Yuga, all the four Vedas you have to follow. And our own benefit, because thinking, these fellows are not capable of having all the four Vedas. Veda Vyasa, he brought it into, he divided it into four. At least, they should be able to have the one of this. Even that, we are not capable now, because we may be doing, because we may be belonging to Rig, Ajur, Sama, and Adharvana and all. So there are certain things, because you don't have to do, because every day, because there are certain things you will have to follow. And when you are doing Sandhya Vandanam also, when you are doing Upasthanam and all, you are reciting the Vedas only. They have come from the Vedas. They are all Vedic Suktam only it has come. So trying to do that way, because that is what it has come. In them, Adityam. Adityam is very Aditi Devo Bhava whenever he comes, for your own benefit. Because if you don't look after the uninvited, unexpected, who comes unannounced, that guest has to be taken care of. Because you are, it is possible you may be losing everything, whatever you have done in this world, with all your good deeds, everything will, because that gives how important that person is to show. Atiti, how important the person is there. And that has coming about, finally it is Vaishvanara. Vaishvanara, in the sense we said, because we have seen in Mandukya Upanishad, when you are in the waking state, it is the Vaishvanara who gives you the entire energy and all. And it could be Ishta Devata, because depending upon, you are in Triplicane, Parthasarathi may be your Ishta Devata. And if you are in Udupi, Krishna may be the Ishta Devata. And if you are in Tripurangundaram, it is the Lord Murugan will be the Ishta Devata. You take it as the form and you be, to yourself, whatever you have to do, because in the name of him, you do. These are all the 6 things, which we are doing for ourselves, our benefit. God keeps smiling. God keeps smiling and looking at us and look, I have given all this fellow all these things. Despite that, every day comes with a new demand. Once you know you don't have any more demand and you know you have really done the Vaishvanara. So once the demand is nil, and when God is wondering what is this fellow, so till yesterday he was asking some demands, today he doesn't have any demand. He himself starts smiling little more broadly. No, this fellow doesn't have anything. This is first thing. Then I will briefly tell the next part. We will explain it in the next week. Purti is something we are doing for others, for the society. See, a lot of people, because they are forming a trust and doing that. In those days, what they were doing it and all. If you do, because the community well, you used to do, because now it is the radiant well, because in Rajasthan, there is a heavy water shortage. So what we used to fund, to bring a big radiant well, because all the sources of water will come there and all. And you use part of this and you use all the villages around, and because during the summer even the cows will not have the water to drink. Even now it is happening in the cities also, the birds doesn't have water to drink. Because that's why in all our nearby, because they are all keeping the water, into some small vessels, and the birds come and take it. And I think likewise to make it that. And when they do three type of a thing. One is wapi. Wapi is the one with the stepped wells, where you go out and take bath and do that. And when that well is big enough, because people go and take it and fetch the water. And Kupa is the where you get take the water by buckets when you are taking it and all. And Kupa and Tadaka is Sarovar because lake. So that so many people can, because a lot of people have created the lakes because if you see the Tamil Nadu or any other state, most of the lakes were developed by private people. They have done it because they for the benefit of the villages and all. Later only government has come and taken over the lakes and spoiled it. Otherwise, in between all those lakes, because at one point of time it was said, if all the lakes and all the water bodies were kept as it is, there would not have been any water problem in any of the state. But now everywhere, because it's being filled and the real estate comes and all those things that happens. So in those days they were creating it. Now we are, on the other hand, we are going against it. The Vapi, Kupa, Tadaka. Vapi, there is a place in Gujarat, you may be knowing. Vapi is the place, there is one big place where United Phosphorus, a very famous company, the only company that makes phosphorus is there, highly rated shares. And Vapi is nothing but a very community well, the big well that is there in the Vapi. That is why that place is called Vapi. Vapi, Kupa, Tadaka, then lakes and all. And then you build a temple or a common place, community hall, chowtries, the nirmana when you do it. So that is the greatest thing. And then is Anna Dana. It's not Anna Dana, it should be Anna Koot. It should be available. So you keep prepared food and so anyone can come and take it any point of time. In fact, I think one of the South Indian actors, in fact, the Tamil actor, I think very well known. I think he in his early days, once he has become big, and he created one such thing in Chennai and Madurai and other places, it seems. So he created a place like a mess. Anyone who is hungry can go and eat it. Like Madurai also, I have narrated the story, because you raise up the flag, the Annakodi in the morning till evening, whoever comes will be fed. When you have something happens, your Ishtapurti is there, when you do that. See Annadana, and then finally the Udhyana. Udhyana is the planting trees and creating, people for, because all the beasts and, there is a small well, everything and all that. These are all the things that has to be happen. Why it is telling, we have done all this Ishtapurti, all these benefits will go if we don't look after the Atithi. We might have done everything, whatever has been. That is exactly the next sentence of this particular verse will say. We will go into the next sentence is very important. In this, we have seen only half of the verse. The second half of the verse, next week we will see. With this, I will try to conclude, because of the time. Sahana vavatu, sahanau bunaktu, sahaviryam karavavahaihi, tejasvina vaditamastu vishvidavahaihi. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We will have a small meditation. I am just taking the